What's up, everybody? It's Jay Spruill, movies, music, sports, and life. You can probably see my afro's looking bad up underneath my Clark Atlanta hat, and it's taking me a lot of discipline not to get my hair cut. I'm gonna go see my homie Depp and have him cut my hair on New Year's Eve. But when he cuts my hair on New Year's Eve, I believe it would have been 60 days, either 2 full months or 2.5 months since I got my hair cut. But trust me, I can't wait until New Year's Eve to finally get my hair cut. But I want to talk about a movie that all the critics said was bad. And then when I went to go see it for myself, not only was it good, but it was better than the last two Avatar movies. So what we're talking about is Avatar 3. But for our purposes, we'll call it Avatar Fire and Ash. And I'm just going to come out and just say this. There is one reason to see this movie. Fellas, I'm not into any type of weird stuff. That's why I titled this video, Varang is impossibly attractive. And what I mean by that is that even if you don't consider yourself a weirdo, even if you're not trying to be a weirdo, she is just immaculate. And every time she's on the screen, it's almost like you're forgetting everything else that's going on and you're focused on her. The way she talks, the way she moves, and I'll say this. It's almost like a Jedi mind trick. Because obviously she's a 9 foot tall cat woman like the rest of the Navi aliens. But it's two things. Because they are the fire and ash people, she has like the light gray complexion instead of the blue. So with her having the light gray complexion, we've always associated aliens with blue or green. But a very light gray, it could pass off for Caucasian or Native American. So A, you've already made her a little bit more human than she's supposed to be. And then B, if you look at my picture of her on the thumbnail, they did this on purpose, y'all. They de-emphasized the cat-like features. And the only feature on her that's cat-like is the big eyes, big yellow eyes. But we've all seen tall, slender girls with big eyes before. So she just looked like a tall girl with big, pretty eyes. I mean, you see her teeth. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything about her just looks like a normal human. And there's a scene where she's walking with the bad guy who hates Sully. And the people are like clapping and waving to her. And she just smiles. You know, like she goes from a bad guy to enjoying the attention. And like she is just so beautiful in that moment when she smiled at the people. So the storyline is pretty much the same. The bad guy was supposed to be dead, but somehow he's not dead, and he is just fixated on Sully and bringing him in and holding him accountable for what he did to the people, even though now he's only alive as a cat person. There's a lot of emphasis on the Caucasian young man, Spider, and it will kind of irritate you in the sense of cultural appropriation, down to the fact that he has the locks, and he knows the Navi language, and he's more comfortable with them than he is with his own Caucasian people, which they use a code word. They always call them sky people. So that's gonna irritate you a little bit. I gotta warn you about that. That's gonna irritate you a little bit. And the only other thing that's really irritating is I think that Zoe Saldana does a good acting job as Neytiri. But if you're anything like me, you will find it frustrating and ironic that Neytiri is going on this diatribe about white people and how they destroy everything and they're so evil and this and that. Hey man, we're not trying to hear it. Now, I'm the last person in the world to use this terminology woke. I hate the terminology woke. But I think in this case, Zoe Saldana is the last person who should be talking like that through her script in this movie. Because you never want your lead, the male that you're in love with, you never want them to look like me. And I'm not even the darkest of brothers, but you don't want no black man. As far as I remember, you had one twice. And it was Michael Ealy on Takers. And you're so bad about this. Oh, Nick Cannon on Drumline. And I think you might only have one other black man as your husband or boyfriend in a movie. But every other time, even if you were green alien Gamora, you had to have Peter Quill. You're the only black person on Star Trek ship, and you got to get with Spock. And what sealed it for me is that you took a picture with two of your sisters who were also beautiful Afro-Latina Dominican women like yourself, and they also had white husbands. And you guys were all cheesing and smiling so big. And make no mistake about it, I know what the purpose of that picture was. You're trying to reinforce that you don't want us, you don't want black men, and that's fine. But don't come up in my movie theater trying to act like all of a sudden you get it. You know, don't do that now. Visual effects are impeccable. However, I will say this movie is just way too long. Way too long. Like, it doesn't have the right to be 3 hours long. And if you are like me, what you will notice is that when the beautiful, my little 9-foot girlfriend Varang, when my little beautiful cat person Varang is not in the movie, you start to notice it. You know what I'm saying? So I would say she's probably in an hour and a half of the movie. So she's literally takes up about half the movie. But that other half, when she isn't in it, the movie just isn't as entertaining. But it still made my top 10. I think I put it at number 6, possibly number 5 movie of the year. And I would still recommend going to see it. And if you listen to any of the critics that said that this is terrible and they need to stop making them, nah. They're going to get better. I can tell by this movie they're going to get better. But they need to chill and they need to just cut it off at 2 hours. Like, you're doing too much and you don't have that much to say to justify it being 3 hours. Jay Spruill, Movies, Music, Sports, and Life. Milwaukee County, Milwaukee City, Gwinnett County, Atlanta, GA.